on criminal justice reform, trade, the economy, and so much else, our American First agenda is focused on expanding opportunity for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For decades, politicians of both parties put their own interests ahead of your interests and put the interests of foreign nations ahead of the interest of our nation. Our leaders spent $8 trillion on wars in the Middle East, but they allowed our great cities to fall into tragic decay and disrepair. For the cost of 1 year of war in the Middle East, we could have given scholarships to every child at every inner city school in America and had tremendous numbers of dollars left over. Politicians drained America's wealth, policing ancient tribal conflicts overseas while leaving generations of African American children trapped in failing government schools and in failing inner cities. The same Washington establishment enacted ruinous trade policies that shuttered our factories and shipped our jobs very far away to other countries. More than 500,000 African Americans lost good-paying manufacturing jobs after the twin disasters of NAFTA and China's entrance into the World Trade Organization. That was a bad day. At the same time, lawmakers and corporations joined forces to push immigration policies that hurt working-class Americans of all backgrounds. Many politicians fight harder in Congress for illegal immigrants than they do for United States citizens. My administration will always put American communities first. On issue after issue, politicians raked in cash from special interests while selling out our nation's workers and our nation's great families. Under this administration, the great betrayal of the American worker is over. After years of rebuilding, thank you. After years of rebuilding foreign countries, we are finally rebuilding our country, renewing our cities, and securing our neighborhoods and protecting our own forgotten communities. All my life, that's right, make America great. Couldn't have said it better than you did. Thank you. Thank you, Dylan. All my life, I've been committed to advancing fairness and opportunity for the African American community. And today I'm here before you with the empty, and we have to say, we've had so many people with empty political rhetoric. We're doing the opposite. We're acting, not talking. People have talked. They've talked. They've talked a lot, and they've got nothing done. And we're talking about for a century. We're talking about for over 100 years. It's been all talk by a certain group of politicians, and no action. Tim Scott, Lindsey Graham, they've done more in the last couple of years than some of our, I hate to call them opponents, but I guess that's what they are, unfortunately. But they've done more than they have in 100 years. I'm here to report on real actions that we've taken, real promises that we've kept, and real results that we've delivered. Since the election, the unemployment rates for African American, Hispanic American, Asian Americans have achieved all-time historic, in the history of our country, lows. Today we have more working. Today we have people working at a level and a number, the history of our country. We've never had so many people working before, almost 160 million people, never come close. African American youth unemployment, so important, a number that 3 years ago when I was running was through the roof. It was, just incredible. It recently reached the lowest rate ever recorded. Youth unemployment, so important. African American poverty rate has reached its lowest level ever recorded in the history of our country. So when I'm up on the debate stage with one of these characters, whoever it may be, and I rattle off a couple of those stats, I don't know how they're going to beat me. They're going to have to be awfully good. They're going to have to be awfully good. More than 2 million Americans have been raised out of poverty, taken out of poverty, lifted out of poverty. For the first time on record, most new hires of prime working age are minorities and women. That's the first time in the history of our country. Minorities and women. Wages are rising fast, and they're rising twice as fast for the lowest income workers than they are for the high wage earners. Proportionately, they're doing the best of all. Women, the best year for employment in 71 years. And soon I think it will be historic. It will be in history. That's a good number. A recent analysis found that middle-class income has risen by $5,000, but add to that, it's median household income, add to that $2,000 from the tax cuts, and then $2,000 for energy, because our energy is much cheaper. And when you look at other countries, what we've done with energy, we've become the #1 producer anywhere in the world by far. And so that would be $9,000 per household, median income. Think of that, household median income. Nobody has ever come close. If you go back and you look at the Bush 8 years, it's $400 for 8 years. You go back and you look at the Obama 8 years, it's less than $1,000. And with us, it's $9,000 when you add. Think of that. And that's for 2.5 years. If they stopped at 2.5, it's even better now because we're almost up to 3. I don't even know if you folks know that, but think of that statistic. $400 for 8 years, $975 for 8 years, and $9,000 for 2.5 years. I mean, thank you. That just came out. That came out at a poll, Moody's, and it just came out at a poll. And you can never take this. They said, I'll win the election practically no matter what. They had 3 different forms of win. And they've been right in every year except for one. Do you know what the one was? The last one. They got that one wrong. Did you know that, fellas? They got that one wrong. They said we were wrong about 2016. They don't even mention that I happened to be in that election, but they said that was the only one they got wrong. That's okay with me. They're going to get one wrong. That was the one we wanted them to get wrong, right? But those are incredible numbers. Those are numbers that nobody would have believed possible. If I would have said that on the campaign trail, people would have said, you have to be kidding. They would have said the fake news. So you have to be kidding. He's not telling the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it turned out that's far more than we even anticipated. Through our pledge to American workers, more than 360 companies have committed to providing over 14 million training jobs and career opportunities for the American worker. My daughter Ivanka works so hard on that. That's her love. It's her passion. It's incredible. She came to me at the beginning of the administration and she said, I want to help people get jobs, Dad, but they have to be trained. She was a great student. She's a great person. And she said, but they have to be trained. I said, what's your goal? She said, 500,000 jobs. She just hit 14 million. Can you believe? I said, that's Ivanka. You know, that's Ivanka. 14 million jobs. It's incredible. It's one of the reasons I think that our employment numbers are so good. I hope that you will judge my administration based on the tremendous amount that we've achieved. Not talking, but achieving. We've made, it's really something. It's really something. And the support that you've given is incredible. We've made our nation stronger than ever before. And I'm here to tell you that we're just getting started. And we're just getting started for the African American community, too. Please remember that. And I will say this, and I really say this with great confidence, the best is yet to come.